And welcome to Citizen Extra on this 6th day of November 2017. My name is Wahiga Mwaura, and over the next 4 hours, we'll be bringing you the latest news on the political front, current affairs, and business. Now, today's show could be themed the Devolution Show, as we take time to examine the deliberate push in the 2010 Constitution to bring the government closer to the people, with county governments at the center of dispersing political power and economic resources to Kenyans at the grassroots. Now, our question that we're asking you today is, do you, wherever you're watching us from, feel that devolution has changed your life in any way? Talk to us. Our SMS line is 22422, and on social media as well. Use the hashtag CitizenExtra, and we will be reading your feedback throughout the course of this show. Meanwhile, we are monitoring the NGO Coordination Board today, as they are set to meet 3 civil society organizations, namely Inuka Kenya, Katiba Institute, and Muslims for Human Rights Muhuri, who have been directed to report to the Fazul Mohammed-led board to respond to a series of allegations leveled against them. Now, some read mischief from the board, stating that this could be an attempt to block these NGOs from moving to the Supreme Court to challenge President Uhuru Kenyatta's victory. We'll have to wait and see how that goes. Now, it's also a big day for an estimated 615,773 candidates across the country who started their Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education examination earlier today under tough regulations aimed at curbing cheating. The candidates will start with, or have already started rather, with Mathematics Alternative Paper A at 8 a.m. or 8:30, followed by Chemistry at 11:30 a.m. Finally, it is the 6th day of the lecturer strike, as university dons are demanding the release of 5.2 billion Kenya shillings by the government before they can resume work. The university's academic staff union, led by the National Secretary General, Constantine Wesonga, say the money for the pay rise was approved by Parliament on the 11th of October this year and is yet to be dispersed. We expect to hear from them as well. Talk to us. 22422 once again is our SMS line, and on social media as well, use the hashtag CitizenExtra. Let me also introduce my high-powered panel in studio today. Let me start from my far right. The Deputy Governor of Nairobi, Polycarp Igathe, welcome to the program.
Good morning.
The Governor of Kisumu, Professor Anyang' Nyong'o, welcome to the program as well.
Good morning.
I'd like to introduce Charles Kalomba, an advisor to the Council of Governors on Industrialization. He's also the Secretary General of the Kenya National Federation of Juakali Associations. Welcome to the program.
Good morning.
And right next to him, David Osiani, a public policy expert. David, karibu sana.
Asante, good morning.
Well, we immediately cross over to different parts of the country where we are monitoring the start of the KCSE examination. We are live from Moi Girls here in Nairobi County. Wilkista Nyabo will give us that update. We are live from St. Mary's Boys in Nyeri, where Martin Munene will also give us an update. We'll be getting an update from John Wanyama in Eldoret at the Moi Girls High School, and we'll also be getting an update from Laura Otieno in Kisumu County. Let's start with Wilkista Nyabwa, who has had a rather early morning. She's at Moi Girls right now. Wilkista, what can you tell us about an examination that will have a lot of impact for the lives of an estimated at least 615,000 Kenyans?
Good morning, Wahiga. We did indeed have a very early morning, but we can say it was fruitful. We started our day at Moi Girls Nairobi High School, and here we were able to meet just the girls preparing for the day, for the first day of the Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education examinations, marking the end of high school for them, and a very important exam as it does have great bearing on their future. One of the people who was here to also give them words of encouragement was East African Cooperation and Labour CS Phyllis Kandie, and she was here in the morning for prayers with the girls, because you will know that this has been a year of turbulence and a bit of turmoil at this school. But today the girls saying that they were prepared, and we were able to just come in and see also that there was very tight security as the examination materials came in, and just the girls going through the steps, checking, some of them standing in as witnesses to ensure that the examination materials had not been tampered with, they had not been opened, and then it was just really a race to get all the papers distributed to all the students before 8:30 when the mathematics paper 1 was supposed to begin. It is a 2.5-hour paper, meaning that they will be finishing at 11, and so interestingly, where we are standing right now is the classroom area because of the security around the examinations, because we do know that in other years there have been issues around examination cheating and leakage of papers, and therefore this year we have seen very tight security around the Kenya Certificate of Primary Education examinations, measures that we expect to be repeated and used yet again to secure the Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education examination. So we did see police officers in the area. We could see exam papers being distributed, and them just ensuring that the exam materials where they were supposed to be was where they were, and that they were not moved. We do know that there were materials that had come in for other papers later in the day that could not be moved. They will stay stationed in one place under very tight security until it is time to do those papers. In this school, we have also seen a blind student who is sitting the exam in a different room, and she does have her braille machine. So we do see that it appears that measures have been put in place to ensure that everybody is comfortable and ready to sit the exams. Wahiga Maura.
So much, Wokista Nyaba, for that update, reporting from the Moi Girls High School in Nairobi County, and for giving us that update. Let's immediately cross over to Martin Monene now, who's at the St. Mary's Boys High School in Nyeri County. Martin, are we able to get an update from him? Okay, yes, I'm told he's ready. Martin, what can you tell us about the beginning of KCSE exams in Nyeri County and the situation at that school where you are at the moment?
A very good morning to you, Wahiga Maura, from Nyeri County. A chilly morning here in this county, but students have started writing their papers without any incidents. And where I am right now is at the St. Mary's Secondary School and Child Rescue Center, where we're going to be just talking with the principal to briefly help us understand what the situation is like at this particular center and also centers across the county, and maybe just also help us understand the preparations compared to last year in terms of security and other measures taken by the Ministry of Education to ensure that this exam is actually done in the right environment, better than last year. So kindly, sir, if you can join me here. Kindly tell us, introduce yourself and tell us who you are, tell us your name, and tell us what has the situation been like this morning in your school.
My name's Brother Peter Kombe. I'm the principal of St. Mary's Boys Secondary School. I must say that the start of KCSE exam, math, started at 8 a.m. this morning without a hitch. And therefore, as I'm speaking right now, our students are taking the exams, which is incident-free. So we are happy that the process went on smoothly.
All right. Compared to last year, what is the situation like? Do you feel that the Ministry of Education has done enough to ensure that this will be a credible examination compared to other years?
I think given what happened last year, which I thought was a job well done, we see the process getting even better in terms of the new measures that they have introduced. And again, our young men are aware because they have been informed well in advance about the expectations as far as the integrity of this exam is concerned. So I must really commend the Ministry of Education and particularly the CS for a job well done in terms of ensuring that this exam is incident-free from manipulation or from scrupulous people, conniving in ensuring that some of our students don't get what they actually deserve. So we truly believe that this is a good start. It's work in progress, and we look forward in the coming days and weeks that this kind of environment that is free of incidents will prevail.
All right. Thank you very much. And Wahiga Maura, that is the principal in this particular school. And I must say, like he said, situation in Nyeri County is calm, and they've been able to start writing their papers without any incident. And basically, let me take it back to you in studio. As Nyeri County, things are set, exams are ready, and people are writing the examination papers. Back to you, Wahiga.
Martin, I don't know if you can give us insight into the security measures, tough regulations that have been put in place this time around. Let me give you some ideas of what the ministry had outlined as new measures that they have put in place. First of all, we are told that there were more containers for storage of examination materials, and each container would have a double locking system. And maybe these are questions you can ask the principal if they can comment. We are told that for the first time, the question, paper, and answer booklet have been combined where this is applicable. We're also told that the candidates' personal details have been captured on the answer sheets, which include a photograph and an index number to avoid impersonation. I don't know if the principal is still there with you. Can we find out a bit more about these enhanced security features?
Yeah, all right, I want to ask about the security features, especially on the exam papers. There has been some improvement. In your observation, have you seen the security features, for example, the picture on the paper, on the booklet? Have you seen that? And what is the situation like compared to last year, the papers especially?
Compared to last year, I must say that the big improvement is we are not issuing a separate answer booklet. It's all in one booklet, which is you answer in the question paper, which makes it easier for the students, and so that's one of the improvements. And then the other thing also is that the whole thing is it's really not much difference from last year. It's just, I think, the answer booklet from what I saw. That I have not seen the student photo on the booklet. So I think that's, I think the only thing is the number of scripts also. They seem to be exact, and so there is no at most maybe we'll have like one extra paper. And then, we are not allowed even to go through. So that paper is also sealed and is left in front of the students. So basically, I will say there is really not much big difference from last year. Even some of those security measures they are talking about, they have been there last year. So I think it's just a question of reinforcement of what happened there last year, right from the container to the center.
Okay, and maybe lastly, are you people experiencing any challenges, especially with identification, now that you say that the pictures of the students are not there?
And we have the student photo. It's on their armchair. So it will not be difficult to identify the students. Very easy. And it's very easy to identify maybe if there was an imposter or that. So I must say that the system is very precise in terms of the way they are carrying the exercise. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Wahiga, like you heard, he said that the security features have been improved, but he says that he did not see any pictures on the answer booklet, but he says there are pictures of photos of the students who are sitting for the papers on the armchairs, so they will be able to identify any person who will try to impersonate a student. And basically that is how things are in Nyeri County. It's getting a little bit chilly here. The rains are slightly becoming heavier. Wahiga.
Thank you, Martin Munene, for that update from Nyeri County. Let's now immediately cross over to Uasin Gishu County, Eldoret, where John Wanyama is on standby. I'm told he's at the Kapsoya High School. John, what can you tell us about the start of the KCSE examination in that part of the country? John, if you can hear me, we are eager to hear from you just how students in Uasin Gishu County have kicked off with their first paper, the alternative, let me just confirm, Maths Alternative A that was supposed to start at 8 a.m. Well, we seem to have lost contact with John Wanyama. We'll go back to him when we get a chance. But for now, let's go over to Kisumu County, where Laura Otieno is on standby. She's at the Jomo Kenyatta Sports Ground, getting views on devolution, which, as we mentioned, is the big theme of the day. And that's something we'll be discussing with my panel here in studio shortly. But before that, Laura, what can Kisumu residents tell us about devolution? More than 5 years into devolution, has the county government affected, changed their life in any way in terms of policy, implementation, etc.? What can you tell us, Laura?
Well, a very good morning to you, Ahiga, back at the Communication Center. And indeed, we are at the Jomo Kenyatta Sports Ground, where today we'll be looking at the whole issue of devolution, of course, as enshrined in the Constitution, Chapter 11, Article 174, which clearly outlines the functions of devolution to the common mwananchi. And maybe first, before we go to that, Wahiga, it's all systems go here in terms of KCSE exams, where we have spoken to one of the principals of the schools around here, that is Madam Nakunja of Kisumu Girls, where she confirmed that the exams kicked off at 8 a.m. The papers arrived at the school shortly after 7 a.m. and all things are smooth and going well. All 285 candidates are sitting for their paper. Now here in Kisumu as well, concerning the lecturer strike, we were speaking to Dr. Constantine Wasonga, who's the Secretary General for the Lecturers Union, and he told us that for Kisumu County, Maseno University main campus will be launching its strike officially today, and of course that is a story we'll be following up. That is in the corridors of education. And now back to devolution. If we could just talk to the residents of this place now. One of the top agendas that the county governor, that's Professor Nyang' Nyong'o, had was to spearhead the formation of village councils, which he said was enhancing the spirit of devolution. And maybe if I could just talk to one of the people here, a resident and a businessman, to kindly tell us, naomba tueleze your name na unaona kama ugatuzi imekusaidia kwa njia gani?
Okay, kwa majina naitwa Nicholas Umundi Jura. Upande ugatuzi, tangu ugatuzi letwe kwa county, tumeona usaidizi sana, sababu sisi kama wa Kisumu, Nyanza na other regions, hii ndio government ambayo tunaona karibu nasi, sababu kwa shida ama tatizo lolote ambayo tunaweza ipata, tunaenda haraka kwa county na tunapeleka shida zetu, inasikika haraka. Na tena government ambayo tuko naye karibu ni hii, juu sababu tusakuwa mbali sana na government na tumefumilia, na tangu hii ugatuzi fanyike tumeona imesonga karibu na wananchi. Sasa wananchi wanaweza peleka shida yao na shida yao inasikika. Sasa sababu tunashukuru sana, na tuwezi zoea ugatuzi ama itolewe karibu nasi iende umbali pali ilikuwa, lakini tunaitaka ikuwe karibu nasi na izidi kukua karibu nasi, sababu tumeona imefanya mengi karibu vitu ambayo inatakikana karibu nasi. Sasa hatuwezi kubali izoelewe ama itolewe.
Yes, thank you very much. Asante sana. Now, Wahiga, that is one of the people, and 4 years ever since we started the implementation of the new constitution where the county governments were put in place. Maybe if I could also sample an opinion from one of another businessman here at the Jomo Kenyatta Sports Ground. Habari mzee, na tueleze kwa sofa ugatuzi, unaona kama imekuwa na any loopholes?
Ugatuzi imetusaidia, isipokuwa ubinafsi ndio imeharibu ugatuzi. Kwa sababu unaona kama kwa mfano unaweza kuta gavana fulani ameingia, sasa huyo gavana atakuwa anaandika watu yake, vitu kama hizo ndio itaharibu ugatuzi. Lakini kwa ufupi, ugatuzi imetusaidia sana kwa sababu tumeona maendeleo ya chap ni kama ile jina ya mtua ule wa Machakos. Kwa hivyo tunafurahia sana ugatuzi, imetusaidia sana kwa sababu sasa tunaona matunda yake. Na ile kitu inaangusa tena ugatuzi ni serikali kuu, kwa sababu watoi pesa kwa wakati ufaao. Kwa hivyo kama wangetoa pesa wakati ufaao, tungepata usaidizi zaidi, tumepata maendeleo zaidi. Kwa hivyo naomba hata magavana yetu, hata madipiti yao wasingatie kazi ya wananchi, sio kwa ubaya, lakini sisemi wasiandike watu wake. Na ningeomba kama ugatuzi ingeendelea, hao watu wenye wanaandikwa kufanya kazi katika county ziwe zimeandikwa permanent, si ati governor fulani akiingia anatoa wao wengine sasa wanaandika watu wao. Hiyo ndio naribu ugatuzi. Asante sana.
Yes, Wahiga, this is some of the opinions of the people here, of course celebrating or rather appreciating the fruits of devolution, but of course raising some of the concerns which include favorism in parts of the county government. And in a nutshell, that is what is going down here in Kisumu County. Of course, our eyes and ears on the ground to be bringing you the latest the unfolding of events as they occur here in the lakeside city of Kisumu. Back to you, Wahiga.
Well, thank you so much, Laura, for that update. You've actually brought up one or two questions that I'd like my panel to answer, and I'll be giving them a chance to do so. Thank you to everyone who's talking to us on social media as well. Let me read a few tweets before I engage my guests. At Fauz, with some numbers that are too many to read. You say, yes, Devolution is working in Garissa County. There is a fire engine, garbage collectors, and ambulance services. So that particular resident of Garissa County feels that there has been some changes. But Martin Kiswili says, no, life is worse instead. You don't tell us which county you are in. And Ndishman, at Ndishman1 says, not at all, only corruption has come out of county governments. Well, those are some of your views. Keep talking to us, 22422. And let me now get a chance to get the views of my guests who are here in studio with me. And I can start with you, Deputy Governor Igathe. Before we talk about whether devolution is a success or failure, which has been a big talking point, especially in the current political dispensation we find ourselves in, how do we evaluate devolution, whether successful or not? What marking scheme, what standard of measurement should one use to evaluate devolution so that you can then say after that, that as a result of these measurements, it either has passed or failed? In your view, how would you, what sort of ruler would you use to weigh out?
Thank you very much for that question and for having me this morning. I think the ruler is to equalize opportunity, access to opportunity to prosper for every Kenyan. That would be the ruler that I use. In the past, before devolution, Kenyans felt that there was disparity in access to opportunity. And I think more than anything else, I celebrate devolution myself because it has equalized access to the opportunity to prosper.
Has it equalized access?
Maybe we've not achieved that, but we have crossed the mental barrier. If you look at the way we share revenue, the CRA, the equitable share of revenue today, it's a formula that's been agreed upon across the country. So what devolution has done is equalized opportunities for Kenyans. The only thing you can't equalize, obviously, is outcome, because between opportunity and outcome is your own effort. So if you've got a governorship that's not delivering, if you've got a citizenry that's not engaged to deliver, then you'll not get the right outcomes. But I think in terms of equalizing opportunity, I commend and hail everybody who's been involved in mooting devolution. I think it's a very good thing. And secondly, to also say that we've done well as a country. Sometimes we beat ourselves really hard. We did this in one go. Between 2030, if you remember, we just switched off and switched on. I don't think this experiment has been had in many other parts of the world. And we must celebrate that little success that we have governorships and a devolved government across the whole nation. Just to achieve that in one go, that has been a step forward. Okay, there are also very many other challenges which we can talk about. Which we will be coming to. And of course, you seem to have a very optimistic outlook. I don't know if Governor Nyong'o next to you shares the same view. Your take again on how do we measure what devolution should look like before we then can say it has brought success or failure over the last couple of years?
I think we go back to the Constitution, really. We have to go back to Schedule 4 of the Constitution. We have division of functions between the national government and devolved government. It's very clear in Chapter 4 that devolved government has certain functions and national government has certain functions. And when I was a member of the Senate Committee on Finance, Budget and Commerce and Tourism, in discussing with Treasury over allocation of revenue to the counties, we had one major principle, that resources follow functions. So if you look at Schedule 4 of the Constitution, ask yourself, up to now, have resources really followed functions in the county? And I think this is where we have the problem, because the counties have tremendous functions, but quite often not adequate resources to perform those functions. That's one. Secondly, there must be institution building in the counties. Governance is very important. We've had 5 years of devolved governance, and as my colleague says, we are not necessarily on the same par, on the same kind of, on the same level as far as institutionalizing governance in counties are concerned. I'll give you an example. It's very important, if you look at the County Government Act, that the foundation of devolution is the village council. The County Government Act also allows county government that they can even go lower than that and go even to the communities to establish local governance. But failure to implement village councils doesn't means that devolution in those instances have not gone in terms of governance to where it should go. Now, once you go up to the basic level of devolution, then you can decide as a county government what are going to be the key functions of village councils, given the division of functions scheduled for the Constitution. And in my case, I think village councils should deal with the following issues: public health, which is very important. That is where the rubber touches the ground among ordinary people. 2, sanitation, extremely important. 3, access roads. 4, water. And finally, culture, utamaduni. Now, these are the things that make life tick in the villages, and you can actually develop village councils and village administrators given the capacity to govern other villages and perform these functions, so that villagers really feel that their life chances not only in their hands, but are adequately resourced from the county governments.
Okay.
Now, one of the reasons why many county governments have not been able to do that is because the whole global gamut of the functions that they are given are not adequately financed. So you find, even up to now, I've been a governor since the 21st of August, and the only money I've gotten is to pay salaries. Now, this is really time wasted. 2 months of not having resources for developmental functions is actually undermining devolution.
Okay, I'll come back to you to figure out from you, of course, whether you feel that county governments are too reliant on the national government, and we'll be talking about that. But I can get an opening statement now from Charles, your take again, how to measure devolution, and of course I can give you a chance to comment on what your other panelists have brought into the discussion.
I agree with Deputy Governor Nairobi and Governor Kisumu, what they have just said. But me, if I measure devolution, I'll tell you it's not working. It's not working in the sense that...
you've already measured, and
I've already measured.
It's not working.
And I'll give you a walkthrough for you to believe me.
Okay.
That when the governors were set in place in 2013, I was given an opportunity to present to them what really is the case of devolution, according to my experience in Asia, China and India. And in Naivasha, I gave them a presentation about what needs to happen. And what needs to happen is what is in place today. How do we evaluate it? How do we add value to what is in place? And then where are we moving? How are we moving? Now, they listened to it. They gave me another opportunity now to walk through with them until we went to the first devolution conference in Kwale, in Leisure Lodge, where they gave me 10 minutes to talk to them. After 10 minutes, they were all making noise when the master of ceremony tells me to stop. And I was given 45 minutes. From 45 minutes, they asked me a question. The national government was there. The county governments, all the governors were there. They asked me a question. What you have told us, what percentage of your mind? I told them 2%. So they said, suppose you gave us even 20%, we will be moving. I told them, I will give you 20%.
Can you give us a hint of what you told them? I think now we are all curious to hear what I was
telling them was so simple, that unless we position county governments to become markets of other county governments, so that this county government is developing systems to supply to this other county government. So I become a market and I become a supplier of another county. Like for today, in Kenya, we are number 2 in flower farming. We are importing cocoa pith, which is a media from coconut. So if we do value addition on coconut, we'll have enough cocoa pith to become number 1 in flower farming. So as a nation.
Which counties are you then talking about?
Yes, then I'm talking about the 6 counties in the coast region, where is Tana River, Lamu, Kwale, Kilifi, and Mombasa. They have coconut, which was planted by Vasco da Gama. Those days, you remember, Vasco da Gama. Now, these county governments have not taken advantage of that. So coconut has left Kenya to India, and India is supplying Kenya with cocoa pith. You get it? So I'm only talking about these counties have got animals. They eat the meat, they export the hides, and import the shoes. You get it?
Yes.
So it's a mismatch.
Okay.
But if you look at it, then I measure it on Juakali. Everybody in this country, and even my governors here will tell you, we were together with Asian Tigers in 1970. They are far ahead of us. And a few years to come, we'll be talking about we were together with Kisumu when we started devolution. What did Kisumu do? So there are county governments today who are thinking unique, and they'll move faster than other county governments. So some county governments are static because they're looking at what is getting from the national government. Now they rely on that one. They rely on how much is coming, and that's the cake. Now let's share the cake.
But you can't blame them.
I can't blame them for a sense that this is the way we are set on the constitutional level, that they receive it to spend. And what the governor has just said, like today, development funds, I'm working with Bomet County and some other counties. Development funds today has been far delayed to go to the counties for
Yes,
development.
yes.
So what they're getting is recurrent. And recurrent cannot develop an economy. So what the counties are supposed to be doing it, what is the setup? What is the raw material they have? How do they add the value to the raw material?
Okay.
How do they create wealth for the people?
I'll come back, and I'm curious to get a comment from the guest just next to you on what they think about what you've had to say. I'll give him a chance to respond, but David, come in now.
I think measuring devolution will not be as easy as we may want to. Devolution in Kenya was premised on three things. It was first premised on the Constitution, Chapter 4, as Agenda 4, as Professor Nyong'o has rightly pointed out. It was then based on the sessional paper 2012 on devolution, done by the Task Force on Devolution. And thirdly, it was premised on our national values and principles of governance. Now, Charles is very passionate about industry, and I agree with him. It's a driving force, you know, towards economic development, but that's not everything devolution may be about. Devolution transcends industry. It gets to, you know, infrastructure. It gets to socio-economic well-being. The target devolution, when we envisage devolution, we envisage it being a tool of socio-economic empowerment to our people, socially empowering them and economically empowering them, as well as developmentally, you know, infrastructurally and so on and so forth. It therefore becomes very hard to amalgamate all these opportunities. For example, as DG says, Polycarp says, the opportunities that devolution has given are abundant. An attempt to get a sense of equality and equitability. But has it translated to just that? Has it resolved problems of exclusion and things like that? No. And part of the problem is, I think, the resources allocated to the counties may not be enough to make that extreme turnover, you know, to change life round about it in day one, so that Nairobi County tomorrow would say it has enough resources to be able to build a light rail on its own and get it running here and now. They will still be hugely reliant on the national government, principally because you reckon that about 85% of our revenues are still held at the, you know, quote-unquote federal level, at that higher level, which is why focus tends to shift then to the presidency. Now, if we had allocated a lot more resources...
What does a lot more look like?
Probably 50%.
So 50% remains the national government and 50% goes to the counties.
Look at the best devolution model that I love is that of the UK. You know, Wales, and you look at Ireland, and you look at Scotland.
Yes.
That's the best model of devolution.
Correct.
They're able, because of you know, that being sufficiently resourced, they're able to achieve so much independently, yet they're still tied to Westminster, you know, the heartbeat of the country. And what they have there is more or less what we have here, but are we really enabling devolution? And that's why it calls on all the arms involved, you know, from the presidency, the ministries and the agencies involved, the county governments itself, I mean, to come together and realize that it is far better for us to aid devolution, resource it sufficiently, then that way you're able to demand for accountability correctly.
The governor actually wants to come in now.
I think we get it wrong when we say that the devolved government wants to depend too much on the national government. It's a fallacy.
Yeah.
Because the money that the national government has are our taxes.
Exactly.
Yes.
When I drink a bottle of soda, I pay VAT. When I travel, I pay VAT. When I take Kenya Airways, I pay a huge tax.
Correct.
And this is collected by the Treasury and the Central Bank, and it is not their money, it is the people's money.
Exactly.
So we have structured a system of government which says this money should go back to the people through devolved government. Why should they get a huge chunk of it and keep it there? What are they doing with it? Because their functions are not really developmental. Their functions are defensive. I mean, their functions are security, defense, foreign affairs. Not really productive functions. They're necessary for productive functions. But the entity of government that really does productive functions, the devolved government, agriculture, water, veterinary work, you know, health. The only thing that the national government retained, which is social production, is education. And they left it to the ECD, which is wrong, really. I think devolved government should go up to secondary school level. Because when I went to high school, at Alliance High School, my fees was paid by the District Education Board of Central Nyanza then. And the Central Nyanza District Education Board ran high schools, except for the mission schools, the big government schools. So basic education, which is from ECD to Form 4, should be a devolved function under proper devolution. And I think from devolution, we should progressively move towards federalism. I think federalism will make a lot of sense. Yeah. I was talking to an American billionaire in New York the other day, and they said when they go to Nigeria, they love dealing with the states rather than the national government. Because in the states, the business is fast. Yeah. And if you see the impact of your investment much faster than the national government. In the national government, there's a lot of waste. Yes. And that waste is hidden in all kinds of deals that you can never put your hands on, that golden bag and all that kind of thing. So in the counties, they're not real golden bags. They may be pilfer your money here and there. That can be cured by proper governance and proper counting system, which we are all trying to do. Okay, Professor, I'll be coming to you, and Polycarp, I'll be coming to you as well. Do we have, before we go over to Nyeri, do we have the graphics when devolution works, what it should be able to take care of? Let's put that up on the screen if we can. Devolution should be able to take care of the following: equitable distribution of resources across the country, especially to regions that have been marginalized for decades, and I'll get comments from my panel here. Management of governance and public service to the smallest units of the county. Okay, let's go to the third one, and that should be coming up on the screen in just a bit. I can also pick it up here. Timely and efficient delivery of public services such as healthcare, which has been alluded to in this discussion, education and infrastructure. Kenyans can also take charge of their development initiatives from the grassroots level through prioritizing of their needs. So each county decides what is important to them and then is able to focus resources to them. There should be one more that should be coming up on the screen, just a little bit about when devolution works. And finally, reduced political tensions at the national level by devolving leadership to the counties. And I'll be getting comments from each of my panelists shortly. But before that, let's go over to Nyeri County, where the governor, His Excellency Gakuru, should be on standby now. Can we get that update now? There we go. Okay. So, of course, Governor, we are curious to get your views on devolution. I know that you've been in office for a very short time now, but we're discussing devolution, whether it has worked or not. And the view from my guest here in studio is that there's a lot more that needs to be done for devolution to get to where the Constitution intended it to be. I'd like to get your views now on that, Governor. Can you hear me, Your Excellency?
Yeah, well...
Okay, if you can hear me, we are talking about devolution. My question to you.
Yes.
Okay, great. You can hear me loud and clear. Thank you so much for joining us today on Citizen Extra. My question to you is, we want to get your thoughts on devolution. You've been in the office for a short time, but we know that governors, as we speak, are facing various challenges, pressure from their constituents to deliver, reduced funding from what we are told from the National Treasury, which has hindered their ability to work as well. But nevertheless, expectations that governors will move their counties to the place that the Constitution needed them to move to. Can I get your views on these various issues?
Well, I think in Nyeri we are waiting for the for the development budget to be released from Nairobi so that we can get down to work. We are ready with our budget, revised budget, so to align with the vision that we have as coming in as new governors. And, you know, we're just waiting for that to be done, so we get to go to work. I'm sure once we're done with the politics in Nairobi for the national government, I think we're going to be underway very shortly.
I can also then ask you, because you're also waiting for funding, is this a sign that the national government is not fully committed to devolution? Because from what we know, the county governments should work autonomously, 24/7. There should not be delays in the funding they receive because they need that funding to carry out their duties. What is your take on why it's taking so long to get this full funding from the national government?
I thought that perhaps maybe some challenges at the national level, because you notice we've just been going through elections, and perhaps we needed to, you know, be clear in terms of who is coming in as governors, and you know, we have not been advised as to why there has been any delay in the releasing of funds. But
Okay.
on my side, I needed to get ready with my revised budgets, and I was not ready until this past week. So it's not been a very big challenge for us in Nyeri at all.
Okay, my last question. You say it's not been a very big challenge, but I'm sure there are opportunities that the county has missed. There are projects that have lagged behind. Can you tell us in what ways has Nyeri suffered because of reduced funding? But also, can you tell us when devolution fully works, what should Kenyans expect to see? So those are two questions. Maybe you can start with the first one.
I think I think for us in the area, I've not seen any project that has been, we've not lost any opportunity actually, or to be very honest with you. We're just building our case. As you notice, we just last week on Monday, we were able to swear in our CECs. I am sure that I would not have been able to start work without my team, and I needed to have that team in place. Now that I have that team in place, I need the money, and I hope that Nairobi will be able to release the money without any further delay for us to move forward. In as far as benefit of devolution to people of Nyeri, we are a very hard-working county, and there is a lot of work that needs to be done. When these resources are available and they are used optimally, we are going to have improvements in across all the sectors, starting with agriculture. And, we've got some very important cash crops that come from here, our coffee, our tea, our horticulture and milk. We got to get the yields to go up, we got to get the quality to go up, we got to get the prices to go up. We will work with farmers and the leadership in the farming communities so that every single one of these areas is improved. When we have those resources, we are able to build our own cold rooms, we are able to build our own, get resources to go to support, coolers for milk. We are able to help the farmers with farm inputs, fertilizers, whatever other material that is needed on the farm. We are able to give the farmer extension services to improve on every single aspect of what it is that they do. And Nyeri is basically a farming county. And then we are able to sit down with stakeholders in tourism, for example, and manufacturing, so that we can do value addition. We can we have in Nyeri a round table with the governor, so that we can talk to the leadership of various sectors, including tourism, including agriculture, including
Dr.
value
Kakuru, thank you so much. We are out of time. Thank you so much for giving us your views on devolution live from Nyeri County. Polycarp, let me come to you. You've had a chance to listen to different thoughts both here and outside our studio. I can give you a chance to comment. Even as you tell me, devolution was supposed to bring services closer to the people and to sort out issues that are specific to different counties. One big issue in Nairobi, hawkers. Can you tell us a little bit about what your county government is doing in regards to that? Some have called it a hawker menace, but for lots of Nairobians, that is how they earn their living as well. So I can give you a chance to respond to the discussion, even as you talk about that issue very specific to your county.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me start by building on the points that were presented by the panelists, and I could not, and I agree with them. But I think there's a need to also migrate mentality to us to start to believe that we can generate more revenue at county level and lend it to the national government and not just sit and wait for national government to generate. I can tell you for a fact, if we did the right things in Nairobi in terms of the funding model for Nairobi, like if everybody paid their rates, if Nairobi is the first county, I could confidently say, but in a period of 5 years, hear me out,
go ahead.
We could lend money to the national government. And that's
in the next 5 years.
That's something we can do. That's doable. But it requires coordination, interdependence, collaboration with the national government. And I think to a large extent, the first phase of devolution, if there has been a hit or a miss, is this fight between counties and national government. In Nairobi, for instance, we had 47 cases against the national government. Litigation, government to government suing each other. And with it was a 2.3 billion shillings legal fee note. And you ask yourself, why would two governments entertain lawyers to an extent of 2.3 billion? Why would they not speak parallel? Anyway, that's a subject for another day. Now let me come back to, but let's not get lost that we can generate our own revenue and and move on, even as we wait for the revenue equitable share. And I completely agree, it's our money, it's our taxes. So that doesn't take away that very, very valid point. The other thing I want to talk about, the hawker menace.
Yes.
The source of small-scale traders, or people we call hawkers, is the fact that Nairobi has one of the worst transitions from primary school to secondary school. And that is it's a fact that's not known. In Nairobi today, our transition from primary to secondary school is perhaps 55%. And it just jumped from 34% the other day, which, percentages sometimes hide fact. That is to say, 1 out of every 2 kids are the only ones who make it to secondary school in Nairobi. When a child stops schooling at standard 8, what does it mean? It means that person, the best they can do is become a small-scale trader.
That's correct.
We are producing them in tens of thousands. So I'm asking people to bear with us. Hawkers are not vermin. They are our children, they are our brothers, they are our sisters. What we really need to do is to create inclusive spaces. Number one, we must invest heavily in education.
Have you made mistakes in how you've handled the hawker menace so far?
No, we haven't.
As a county government?
No, we haven't. We are creating a sustainable model of it.
Okay.
And I'll tell you what we are doing.
All right.
We are using the commuter rail station to create, I'll give you, between the central station going all the way to Githurai, Dandora with the Kiambu County and going to Syokimau that way. We are creating train stations where we want matatus to be decanting people. And then motorists leave their cars there. Then we'll build markets around those places. And we want hawkers to go there because hawkers follow traffic. We've been decanting the whole country into Tomboya Street, River Road, Latema Road, Kirinyaga Road. From the whole country, that's where everybody comes to come off their car. And that is such a small space. And that's why hawkers come there, because majority of the people, including people who live in Nairobi and their estates, that's where matatus begin and end their journeys. So we have to change that and negotiate. We've got a piece of land up in Gara, 42 acres, which we are building a whole market for hawkers.
Where's the money coming from for all these projects? Sorry, go ahead.
If I will.
Okay, finish.
We can talk revenue model. We can talk everything. I'll tell you what we are going to do about the revenue model.
Okay.
But we want to move that bit across there. And also create inclusive spaces, make our city a 24-hour city. Nairobi today is perhaps the only city that works 12 hours. We all come ridiculously, all of us, between 6 and 8. Then we all leave between 4 and 6. We all go. This town is dead at night. And so there's a mixed land use. We have to do a bit more better spatial planning to have a consistent plan going forward. So the hawker menace, although we are calling it a menace, I think it's a challenge, and we have agreed. Today, the national government has a body called the Small Medium Enterprise Authority. We want to register.
It's called MSEA. Micro Small Enterprise Authority.
There you go.
Yeah.
We want to register all of them, give them an ID, an identity, so that they are a businessman. Today they are not even recognized. And then when you register them, we then move them to a place. They've even told us we are ready to move. Show us where to move. And that is the piece of work we are dealing with. Because even where we were supposed to move them in the past, the land had been grabbed. So that has taken time to get. But we want to assure Nairobians, as we come into January especially, we shall be absolutely organized, and we have started to move them. We've even fired our own officers who've been also taking advantage of the chaos, of the resource chaos that's been going on, and we've told them to step aside. My governor actually asked 2 of them to step aside last week. So we are dealing with the issue. But there's one thing, this tonality of speaking about small, medium enterprises as if they are dirt is unacceptable. These are Kenyans who have waking up and they have a right to earn a living. And we have to figure out a way of resolving problems without screaming at each other all the time.
Okay.
And talking to each other.
I agree with the Deputy Governor, totally. I think so-called hawkers are small-scale business persons. And I think giving them a proper identity is very important. And secondly, they are in the streets simply because they have no other opportunity. And it's very important to create that opportunity for them to realize their potential. That was the aim of Devolution. And I think that Kisumu is just a microcosm of Nairobi. The kind of problems.
You see parallels?
I see a lot of parallels. I think there's a lot of comparative learning that we can have with each other. And I appreciate the step they're taking. That's the same thing that faces us in Kisumu. And I think that we have a city manager now, and we're going to, under the Urban Areas Cities Act, we are the only county with a city and a rural county. Nairobi is a city county, so it's more like Mombasa. Now, another thing that I agree with him is that definitely revenue in the counties have to go up. And there are very many methods of increasing revenue, depending on what kind of political economy you're talking about in a particular county. And I think Nairobi, Nairobi alone controls about 58% of the GDP
of the nation.
So that's a very big base to have revenue. And I agree with him, with that kind of controlling of the national GDP, they are in a position to lend money to the national government, definitely.
Absolutely.
Once the revenue properly managed. Now, the problem that we have had, and which I saw as soon as I became governor, is that we don't have effective and proper system for revenue collection.
Agreed.
Even where revenue has been automated, you find binary systems. You know what I mean? What I mean by binary system? Where where money is collected is supposed to go straight to the bank account.
Yes.
But the binary is sending it somewhere else.
Absolutely.
Before it reaches the bank account.
Absolutely.
And these are the people telling you, oh, we have automated this thing.
Absolutely.
I think we have to deal with that.
Yes.
So I think we have noticed that the thing to do is how do they design systems of revenue collection that as much as possible limit human error and maximize the resources banked so that they can be properly accounted for.
Okay.
I think the Auditor General will be very happy if we can do this, because then it will be very easier for the Auditor General to audit. To do his job. An automated system where it doesn't deal with too many human beings.
And that's correct. On that note, I have to take a break. I have to take a short break.
Yes.
We have passed the break.
I want to make a different opinion.
15 minutes. We are 15 minutes past the break. Let's take a quick break now. We are coming back. I have a hot topic here that will change the nation if Kenyans can get this right. Devolution, hits, misses, and opportunities. I'll also be reading your feedback immediately after this. We will be right back.